Vince McMahon. What's the deal? Is he you see him walking away from this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's too old and too ingrained, right?
Well, Matt, I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, he had to step aside and like name somebody else as the president of WWE for a while for some
Yeah, for like a
other
year.
scandal. I don't remember what that specific scandal was, but maybe it was a hush money thing. But
Yeah.
he orchestrated a way for him to remove himself from the business, did so, and then as soon as all the heat died down, which it's going to do because that's a news cycle now, is that people will forget anything in about a week because something else crazy is going to happen.
Right.
So, maybe hopefully they'll scrub these crazy texts that we're all reading. But I think, like Steve said, Vince is going to Vince. And I think, maybe it's not going to be immediate. He's not going to just walk away and it's going to be fine. But yeah, I think Vince McMahon's going to be just fine.
I think so. And what you're talking about is there was an investigation, from what I remember, at WWE right before I think they merged with UFC or whatever that deal was. And
Yeah.
he left the day-to-day operations as president, but then he came back like a year later, just what you said. People forget. And I feel like he's such a legend. And again, I'm not siding with him if allegations are true and he did terrible things because that's inexcusable. But for the historical, as a big fan, since I was a kid, I feel like he's just so ingrained. It's not gonna hurt his brand in the bigger picture of everything.
He is so relevant in pop culture, man. Like I really don't know what my life would be like if it wasn't for Vince McMahon. And like I don't know, that's
Yeah, right.
a stand statement to make, but it's facts, man. Like
It's
like
facts.
of course wrestling existed before him, but he perfected it. Like, and in my opinion, he's the greatest promoter, better than Don King, better than the
Oh,
other guy
sure.
that does boxing, um, PT Barnum, all of those guys, man.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. And to take that brand from what it was before, if you look at like the early ages of the WWF in the late 70s, early 80s, I mean, to have by WrestleMania 2 and 3 that kind of phenomenon, it's I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, that stuff usually takes decades to work up.
And it's still
They
here. I
could
mean, it didn't diminish. It just got bigger and bigger to the point where, I mean, I know he got bought out, but it's just like he got bought out because it's that big. He's such a success.
Oh yeah. And to your credit, it was on the news. Netflix. Did you guys hear about that Netflix $5 billion deal?
They're streaming
with
Raw,
Raw.
I think, or
Yeah, to stream Raw, 5 billion over 10 years. I mean that just to pay that billion, 5 billion. I mean you could buy a few football teams with that money just to stream a program like a little arm of not little, but an arm of that juggernaut is that just like goes to show you how big it is and how much he's built up that company, you know?
And I believe he bought the company from his dad for 1 million initially.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
he's just a great businessman. And I mean, the
Yeah.
character he got to play, especially like in the Attitude Era that we all know and love, is just you can't erase that. Like you can't without Vince McMahon. Would there be wrestling the way it is now? I don't think there would be.
not at all, man. Like his blueprint is copied, man. Like you could really teach a Vince McMahon course, like in a business kind of deal, man, or marketing, man.
Oh, for sure.
But it does
Like
suck
even when
that
he,
these things come up, though, right? It does suck that these things keep coming up and people are like coming out with these allegations. But it's just wild that like we were watching him when we were little boys, just like renting wrestling tapes. Me and Steve went to the same video rental place and would get these free wrestling tapes,
Was it a West Coast video or a Blockbuster?
video connection,
Oh,
video connection,
all
yeah.
right. Okay.
Ohio proud. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, what else is around that has withstood this length of time, and that's because of him. I mean, it's not like he's not has a hand in it. It's because he's that good at it. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's crazy. It's almost Simpsons-esque where it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's been here the whole time. I can barely remember a world without it, without Vince McMahon.
Yeah, no, of course not. And I remember, yeah, as a kid, you'd go and you would like spend 30 minutes deciding if you're going to get like WrestleMania 7 or SummerSlam 90. And then you're like, yeah, we're going to get, can I get two of them? And it was just like, it's such an experience. And it's withstood the test of time. They're still fun to watch. I mean, you guys revisit those old ones sometimes, right?
Oh yeah.
They never get
Yeah.
old, man.
They
Like
never get
those
old.
guys were my comic book heroes, man. Like, cause
Yeah.
I didn't grow up like reading like Batman and all of that stuff. Like, I would get the WWF magazine like
Yep.
religiously every month, man.
Oh yeah. No, me too. I got the magazine and like I mean Macho Man was my guy. I mean, I had the Slim Jim like cutout in my room. Like him with like it was like the orange and yellow, like the crazy outfit, the Slim Jim outfit.
The
Um,
Slim Jim outfit,
do you
the
remember the
one.
Slim Jim commercials? He
Oh, it
had
was
He
like
so
was
the
rocking the
colors,
cowboy
the
intense.
hat,
Slim Jim colors.
man. But
Oh
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah.
Oh
of all the
yeah.
wrestlers that passed, he's like the one I want to meet the most. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish I could have met.
Yeah. What a life. What a life. So yeah, we'll see what happens with McMahon. I mean, it looks like the chick was, from what I'm reading, was looking for work, and one thing led to another, and yada yada, and she comes out. So, I mean, he's
There's
got
other
the
ways of
money.
making money. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a red flag, like looking for work, maybe looking for money, and we'll see.